So, funny thing happened to me today. I was in 3.15 PTU, excited to check out the new Origin 400i. And maybe Port All-Star wasn't the best place to do this because I had a stowaway who had a little bit of an issue with the law. So anyway, tourists took care of him and my ship, and I ended up here with a brand new body. So right after I find my clothes and work on getting a new ship, we'll take a first look at the Origin 400i. Alright, so now that I found some armor and I got a new 400i, let's take a look at it. So the 400i is an exploration ship for explorers that enjoy the finer things in life. So while the ship is built to be versatile, it's also designed with that Origin lifestyle in mind. That's right, fast maneuverable ships delivering the lap of luxury that most of us can just dream about. It was revealed at CitizenCon that this ship is meant to compete with the Constellation and Drake Corsair. However, it's designed to be faster and more maneuverable. And from my first impressions, I think they delivered. It can feel a little sluggish due to its medium size, but this rivals the Mercury Star Runner in maneuverability in my view. And for the most part, it looks good doing it. With bespoke twin missile racks, a really large shield generator, and two rear-facing size 3 laser repeaters, this ship should be able to hold off attackers. There's also two size 4 laser repeaters that the pilot can control, so I feel confident that I should be able to get out of trouble with the 400i. The 400i also holds 42 SEUs of cargo, which for Origin is good but modest compared to the competition. So let's talk about how the 400i looks. CIG tried to throw us off the trail, but SC Leaks nailed how this ship would look. I don't think the style is going to be for everyone. And I must say, when I first saw it, I thought it was going to land on a body of water more than fly in the air. You know, it kind of reminds me of, if you remember in Star Wars, I think like Episode 1, the yacht that Princess Amidala uses for the Naboo people. This looks very much like that, so it looks like they drew a lot of inspiration from that design if you ask me. But of course nobody's asked, I'm just offering my opinion. But anyway, it's got a rather unique shape to it. I didn't quite think that it was Origin, although looking closer at it I can see some resemblances to the Origin style of ships that have already come before it. Such as the 890 Jump, it's kind of got that triangular nose to it. And in the rear, thrusters kind of remind me of the 100i series a little bit, especially when they're in use. But love it or hate it, the 400i accomplishes what it sets out to do. Looking at the ship versus the competition, it looks aggressive and sharp. Like, not only is this ship fast, but it's fancy to look at. I think it looks good in all the available paints, but the Penumbra paint that is available to concierge members I think is a great gold accent that just screams, I've got money. Regardless, I think it delivers on not only looking fancy, but somewhat like a work of art. Like how the landing gear in the front seamlessly integrates with the ship when retracted. Alright, so since we found a safe place to land and I didn't end up in the hospital, let's talk about the interior of the Origin 400i, which is probably the main draw of this ship. So walking up to the ship, you're going to have these two nicely placed logical buttons for the elevator for the vehicle bay, and the ramp access to get into the ship. this vehicle bay is really designed for the X1 hoverbike from Origin, if that ever does come out. What's holding that up, CIG? However, you can fit a Nox Q bike in there right now, with, you know, some mixed results, shall we say. Yeah, that could use some work. However, if you're creative, you can fit a Grey Cat PTV buggy in here. Is it PTV? I don't know. I'm really not good at these names. Anyway, let's hit the button for the main ramp access to get into the ship. And you can see these nice stairs come down. I, for one, am happy that they're using a stairwell system to get into the ship instead of a lift, because those can be a bit of a death trap in the 600i. Not to mention, it's just faster to get into your ship to just walk upstairs instead of a lift. Anyway, once you're in here, you can see you have a standard docking collar to the left here. So that's going to open up some docking options to you. And to the right, we have the weapon lockers, which are conveniently placed for when you come on and off the ship for the crew. It's going to become more and more important to be able to store your items, your weapons, shall we say, in these lockers. And of course, the centerpiece that you can see is the exposed anti-gravity unit, which kind of reminds you that you're not just in a spaceship here, but also a moving, working piece of art. Very Origin. And there is also conveniently placed a window there so you can see any vehicles that you may have stowed away in your ship. So moving right along on the technical deck, you're going to see that they have these temperature climate controlled units here on the side. I'm not sure exactly why these are here or what you're going to be able to store in here, but I guess that'll give you some more storage options, I'm guessing. But there are some components in here, as you can see, such as the radar systems and shield generators, and it's easily accessible. This should be helpful. It's clearly marked panels, so it should be helpful for new crew that's aboard that needs to service these units. So moving right along, you have the main elevator here to the left, and I think it's also worth mentioning that you have this nice ladder here that can take you straight up to deck 2, so you don't have to use the elevator. Which, as I mentioned before, elevators can kind of slow you down, and sometimes, depending on the server health, it can be a little bit of a death trap. Anyway, moving right along, we have the cargo area here. As you can see, it's written on the floor just in case you get lost. This is your main cargo access door, which you'll be able to see all of the 42 SUs of cargo that this ship can hold right here. On the sides of this room, you have the engine components that you can service, such as this one right here you can see is labeled the power plant. And, you know, it's really convenient that the components are right here and easily serviceable. Also worth noticing is you have enough escape pods on the ship for the crew of, I believe, 3. Plus, I guess, the captain, so that would make it 4. But, yeah, so nobody has to go down with the ship. However, I thought a good captain does always go down with the ship, right? Yeah, I don't know. Food for thought. Anyway, moving along. Let's go upstairs and check out the Habitation deck. So as soon as you get up here, you'll notice that you're greeted by nice, fancy wood flooring, of course, because that's how civilized people travel the galaxy. And straight ahead, the first door is a room that's very important to me, if you watch my videos, the bathroom. And let me tell you, this bathroom does not disappoint. Dare I say, it may be the best bathroom ever. My first impression was that this was the shower, but in fact it's just a really fancy closet, which means if that's not the shower, then we're actually standing in a really elaborate showlet. And Origin's thought of everything here. And not only is this a fully serviceable bathroom, but you can lock yourself in here, which may be useful in case your ship's being boarded by maybe some pirates. So, moving along from the bathroom, unfortunately, we have the cabins. And let's start with the captain's quarters. So as you can see, the captain of the 400i really enjoys a nice luxurious space here, complete with even a footrest. But how does a crew live on a 400i? Well, let's go across the hall and find out. So it looks like there's 2 beds here for the crew, with 4 escape pods. If there really is a 4-person crew, I guess that means 1 person's always expected to be on the bridge. But it looks like a pretty good living space to me. Dare I say a bit warmer than the crew's quarters in the 600i. And finally in the back here we have what's kind of like a meeting area. This is what looks like a briefing area where you can discuss your missions. You can also see back here it's got a nice view. You can see the Area 18 skyline pretty well in this panoramic room, so that's pretty nice. And you can see the rear turret in the back, so may not be a bad place to catch some action also for some passengers. Moving along, looks like you have your little galley over here. You can prepare your food and your meals. And one interesting fact back here is you have 3 levels of lighting back here. So you can really set the mood if you want to. Now that's really thinking ahead, Origin. And this looks like it's going to be a nice place to enjoy a meal with your crewmates. So, what do you say we take a look at the cockpit? So the bridge or the cockpit on 400i is kind of tight if you ask me. But this is a medium-sized ship, so what did I expect? One thing that does really stand out though is, again, you have these panoramic views. As you can see, the skyline is wrapped around the cockpit, so all of the crew up here should have a pretty good view and visibility. Also worth noting is you have door controls here, so you can lock the door of the bridge if you're in, let's say, Drake controlled space, so to speak. These chairs are pretty luxurious looking, and for some reason, I don't know why, but the controls, the way that they jut out, kind of reminds me of the bridge of the original Star Trek The Next Generation Enterprise. But anyway, it does look grand, the seats look pretty nice, and maybe if they give us some customization options, we can change the color of the leather of the seats. So your crewmen here, as they might be controlling the turrets, they'll have a pretty good view of all the action also in front, which is kind of nice. As you can see, the captain's chair, or the pilot's chair, so to speak, doesn't necessarily mean the captain has to sit there, is a dual stick chair, and it's got holographic MFDs. Origin's choice to go with holographic controls and MFDs allows the cockpit to have more usable space and visibility for everybody inside. And as you can see, you don't have to worry about the nose obstructing the view too much like it does on an 890 jump, for example. Most of these controls here I find aren't usable yet, but you do have these controls down here which do work. So that's what it's like to be on the inside of the Grand 400i. So, what's my impression of the Origin 400i? Well, it's an Origin ship, so it's another case of style over function. While the ship probably looks better than a Connie or Corsair, at the end of the day you can carry more cargo in those. And while the dedicated hover bike and vehicle bays sound great, the size of both, coupled with low ground clearance for style, really limits the kind of vehicles you'll be able to take in your 400i. I had hoped this could be a stylish way to rock mine, but this is just not going to be the ship for that. What you do get though is great handling and an awesome interior. While it's a simple layout, it's stylish, so you can feel sophisticated going from planet to planet. And the weapons and shield loadout, I think, lend themselves to good multi-crew fun, and tuners should be able to work with this ship. So, if you're an Origin person like I am, then this is probably your ship. I think for me, it's probably going to make a nice daily driver with enough versatility to do most things. If you're looking to make more money trading or pillaging cargo, then Connie's Corsair I think is going to be probably a better fit. But that's just my first impressions of the ship. What do you guys think? Well, I think that's going to do it for this look at the Origin 400i. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, I really would appreciate it if you give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out a channel this size immensely. And as my thanks, it'll enter you in a chance to win a Nomad starter package if we ever reach our subscriber goal of just 300 subs. So any help would be appreciated. And also, please feel free to leave your comments below. I really do take them seriously, and it helps me improve the content for this channel. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.